right, so welcome to the Lotus and Ivy chat number 3. Today, Sarah and I are talking about our scholarships that our applications have just opened. We're going to talk a little bit about our compliments classes. We're going to talk about our September trial for families who are just not sure if online learning is right for their families. And then we're also going to dive into a little bit about diversity, equity, and inclusion, because we've been getting some questions about that and want to make it very clear where Lotus and Ivy stands on that. All right, so first up is our scholarships. Sarah, can you explain to our audience about the scholarships that we are so excited to be able to offer?
Yes, sure. Yes, we are so excited to be able to offer 9 need-based scholarships, and all 9 of them are 50% scholarship, so half tuition. So the families who are awarded these scholarships would pay the other half, and they are for main lesson classes only, which is the bulk of our tuition if you join Lotus and Ivy. So these scholarships are not, one per class. We are really basing them on objective need criteria. So families put in things like their income and their discretionary income and number of people in their family. And we just have a spreadsheet where we, rank those, and the top 9 are who we would award the scholarship to. The scholarship application opened on June 15th on our website, and we'll close it on June 30th. And then that first week of July is when we'll let people know the people who are awarded the scholarships. Let's see, what else?
Well, I was just going to walk people through the process. So when you go to our website, lotusandivy.com, and you look at the navigation bar there across the top of the screen, you're going to go to the Enroll Now. And that is a box that will open and expand. And then underneath that, you'll see our regular application, and then you'll see our scholarship application. So those are different. Make sure you're clicking on the scholarship application if you're interested in the scholarship, and then click fill it out, and then click submit, and it'll come to us. And then we'll be back in touch with you, letting you know that it was received. And then after July 1st, we'll be back in touch to let you know if you were one of the recipients for the scholarship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you have multiple children, you would just fill out an application for each one. And we've also had people ask us about the registration fee, so the scholarship covers half of that also. And let's see, the other question that we've had about scholarships is, will we award them each year? And yes, we do plan to award scholarships each year, but families would need to reapply every year for the scholarship.
Yes. All right, I think that's it for scholarships. We're going to move on to compliments now. Compliments is one of our newest programs that we've added in the last couple of months, because we got so many questions about enrichment type activities for their children. And so we have added 4 different compliments that rotate through 8 to 9 week sessions throughout the year. And so there are 4 different sessions, and each group of students, first and second, third and fourth, 5th and 6th, and 7th and 8th will rotate throughout those different compliments. Our compliments are Spanish, German, pentatonic flute for 1st grade through 4th grade, and recorder for 5th through 8th grade. And then we also have handwork. Sarah, what did I miss?
Oh, nothing. I'm just thinking that we do have a schedule for compliments. So if you're curious what order they go in for your child's age group, you could just send us an email, and we have all of that. We send that out, of course, to enrolled students, but if you want to know ahead of time, we can give you that information. And we're updating our website every day with more information, but especially most recently compliment descriptions. So, and I think we might still have a more to update on that. So keep checking back for descriptions on those classes. We get a question about the recorder classes. What if my student has already played recorder? And Mrs. Abinader has said that most students, if they've played recorder, it's been the soprano recorder. And so she'll work with them on the alto recorder. And her class, if you read her description on our website too, you'll see that it really is a music class where she's teaching music notation, and the students will work with, notes to make their own melodies and things like that. All of our classes, we get asked about, for example, Spanish. What if my middle schooler has never taken Spanish before? And that is not a problem for any of our classes. Our complement teachers will differentiate for each student. We have a very comprehensive curriculum that allows us to do that. So if your student has had Spanish for 5 years going into 6th grade, we have the appropriate curriculum for them. And if your student is brand new to Spanish in 6th grade, we have the appropriate curriculum for them too. And our class sizes are small, still at 12. So that allows the teacher to really connect and work with each student.
Yes, excellent. We could talk a little bit about each one of our complements teachers. You mentioned Miss Abinader, so we can talk about her a little bit more. Miss Abinader is also our class 3 teacher, and she's going to be teaching these music classes. She has a background in Waldorf education and has more than 25 years of classroom Waldorf experience. And she brings just a wealth of knowledge and enthusiasm to our program. And we're just thrilled and excited that she is able to teach the students using the pentatonic flute and the recorders.
And she has a camp coming up that is actually one of our more popular camps, How to Make a Pop-Up Book.
Yes.
So yes, it would be great if you're curious about her and her style to join that camp.
Right. That camp is coming up in July. So if you're interested in learning more about any of our summer camps, you can go to our website. It's lotusandivy.com. Go to that navigation bar across the top, click down under our classes, and then you can choose camps. That's where you'll find camps as well. All right, our next teacher is Mr. Dorneman. Mr. Dorneman will be teaching German for us. And a couple things I want to say about Mr. Dorneman. He has a lot of energy. He loves to incorporate movement in his classes. He sings in German. He talks in German. His body speaks when he speaks, and he just really knows how to get the children up and moving and excited about German.
And a lot of I would say we have a handful of students who he has taught in the past at a Waldorf school in Florida, and they highly recommended him and are so excited that he's going to continue teaching them as part of Lotus and Ivy.
Right. Our Spanish teacher, Ms. Strobel, is incredibly kind and amazing. She is also teaching one of our summer camps coming up, and her camp is, I have this date in my head because I just put it on the website, June 28th through July the 2nd. And her camp is for a little bit wider age group of students. She'll have her camp be available for 10 to 14-year-olds, where they're going to be completely immersed in Spanish while learning how to create a loom and do some weaving, which is so cool. My own children are going to attend this one because this is something that they know nothing about, and they're so excited about learning about it.
Mhm. Yeah, and one of the main things that struck us about Hannah when we first met her is just she has so many gifts when it comes to the arts. She makes her own clothes, she makes dyes and dyes them. So yeah, the the sewing and the weaving and all of that is just, she's fascinating to learn from, and I think the students are going to really like her.
I think so too. And she has lots of stories from her travels. She's one of our youngest members of the Lotus and Ivy staff. However, she has traveled many times to many different countries, and she's gathered these stories to add to her Waldorf repertoire, if you will, so that she can share those stories with students and weave them into her Spanish curriculum.
Mhm.
And last but not least, we have to talk about our wonderful handwork teacher, Miss Victoria Mansouri. Victoria is based in Vermont, and she really struck us as being incredible when we first met her in an interview earlier this year. We just really thought that Victoria knew how to teach in the Waldorf way. And then we found out that she herself was Waldorf taught from kindergarten through 12th grade. And we knew that was one of the reasons why it felt so natural for her. And so she teaches knitting by telling a story, and the children remember the story and thus remember how to knit online. You can ask, how in the world can this be done? And really the only way that we can explain it is that Victoria has this incredible way of teaching the children while telling them a story and listening to what they are saying and asking her. It's just the most natural, amazing thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and she has her own business where she has taught students in Vermont. So she's taught online. She knows exactly what students need at each age. And she did mention that for first grade and second grade, if the students had not knitted before, they might need their parents' assistance for the first class or two.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, they are able to do it on their own and join her for songs and stories and handwork.
Right. Okay. All right. That wraps us up for compliments. Now we're going to talk a little bit about our September trial. So we have had so many parents to be worried that maybe online learning is not for their family, or maybe it's for one of their children. Maybe they think, oh, one of my kids would be fine doing this, but I'm just not sure about my other one. And so we've created the September trial where you fill out the application, you pay the application fee, and then you pay for September's tuition. And if your child is just not thriving and not loving class, because Lotus and I, here at Lotus and Ivy, we just want our students to love coming to class and want to come so much that they're so excited every single day when they log on. And if your child's not feeling that, then we will happily refund half of your registration fee, and then you will not be financially responsible for any more months beyond September, because we want to make sure that it's right for you. And if it's not right for you, then it's not a good fit. And we understand that Lotus and Ivy may not be an amazing fit for everybody.
Mhm. Yep, and that applies to our main lesson classes, our complements, and our math classes.
All right. Okay, so the last topic that we're going to speak about today is diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've had some questions recently regarding how does Lotus and Ivy express themselves in these areas, and how do we let people know about how where our stance is on these things.
And what are our strategies for improving in those areas?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and this is one of those, topics that is just getting so much, has the spotlight right now. And I think that we are, like so many other businesses, really in a place where we have a lot to learn. What can we do? And, for a long time, Waldorf education has been criticized for being very Eurocentric because it came from Germany. It started in Europe. And so much of that is centered on just stories that certain people can relate to better than others. And we want to make sure that all of our classes incorporate stories that every student in the class can relate to. And, maybe we have a class full of students who come from Eurocentric background. Then we want stories that they can learn about other people.
Learn from.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we've made sure that all of our teachers are aware of that and that are trying to incorporate stories that go beyond just Europe and what is traditionally the Waldorf stories. And that's just one piece of it. There's so much of it. This is really just the beginning of this conversation. We're going to continue to add more and more. But we want to make sure that, every child feels welcome at Lotus and Ivy and feels that they are a very valued student in the class. And one of the ways to do that is to make sure that every child sees themselves in the stories. So because kids love to relate to the stories, and we want to make sure that there's something in every story that all the children can relate to and learn about other people. So that's one thing. Heather, feel free to chime in. There's so much to talk about here. I don't think we'll cover it all today, but.
Well, just a couple things that come to mind. We do not discriminate against color, race, origin, background. We are open and willing to accept any and all children. We do not discriminate against religion. We are
Gender. Yeah.
Or gender. We want children who to be able to experience Waldorf education, and really what we're trying to do is share that rich, amazing education with as many children as possible. And so we will not, cannot, and can't discriminate in any of those ways because of our belief system and wanting to share Waldorf with as many people as possible.
Yes, and we do have a hate speech policy. We have a no bullying policy that everyone who enrolls in our classes has to sign as part of the application process. And, we've been asked about the holidays that we celebrate and the festivals throughout the year. And that's something that we are going to really spend a lot of time on going into the fall. How can we incorporate, diverse festivals and holidays so that we are not just limiting ourselves to Eurocentric Christian holidays? So that's something important to us. And I'm hoping that maybe we can have some parents who can really help us with that.
Right. And even American holidays, because we're based
Yeah.
here in the US, we celebrate American holidays, but we would like to learn more about other countries. Currently, we have quite a few students from Canada. We'd like to learn more about the holidays and special days that are celebrated there through our
Mhm.
parents and students. So we are completely open to hearing more and learning more about other cultures and other the ways that other countries and cultures celebrate.
Mhm. Yeah, and we're a part of the new Waldorf Facebook group that's called Waldorf on Fire. And the whole point of that group is to just help educate Waldorf teachers and families on, just helping to open our eyes and educate us on where we might have been exclusive with our curriculum in the past. So we are part of that. So we're always learning from that group. And we have incorporated some main lesson blocks in some of our grades that, like ancient China, for instance. So in 5th grade, instead of just focusing right around, the Fertile Crescent area and civilization, how it expanded out from there, we acknowledge and learn for um, a main lesson about ancient China. So we have some African studies in several of our classes, and we just want to learn more about that. And I think you'll find and you'll see that as the year progresses, we continue to just incorporate and improve when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Right. And our geography studies go so deep,
Yes.
much deeper than just
Yes.
the actual location of the countries and the capitals of the countries. It goes into cultural studies. It goes into learning stories from those areas and learning vocabulary that helps the children to internalize and understand where the civilization has come from and where it is going. Learning about third world and second world countries so that students understand their world as a whole rather than just being single-minded, so that they can expand and really understand the world that they're living in.
Mm-hmm. And then from the very beginning, Heather and I, said to each other that it's very important to us to have a faculty that is diverse. So we've tried very hard to hire people from we have faculty from so many different countries. Some of them are living in the United States, but are from Hungary or Germany. And then several of our faculty members are in other countries, Spain and Canada and the United Kingdom. So it is very important for us to continue to have a diverse faculty that comes from many different perspectives also. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention is just through our scholarship program, it's so important to us that we do what we can to make Waldorf education available to those who can't afford our tuition. And that's why we are so happy to be able to offer scholarships. And of course, that information remains confidential. Even our teachers don't know what students are on scholarship. But that is something that we are trying to do to be more inclusive as well.
That's right. That's right. We certainly want Waldorf education, like we've said before, to be available to as many students as possible, and regardless of if they can afford the tuition. We want to make Lotus and Ivy a program that is diverse in many different ways. And we feel that having the scholarships in place will help us to expand on that goal.
Mhm. All right, and more to come on that. That is not the end of that
Yes,
wrap
that
up.
conversation really never ends.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah.
Thank you for being with us today. We appreciate you watching, and we hope that everyone has a wonderful day, and we'll be back next week, Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.